Hello and welcome. Hope you're all doing well and finding Empower useful, enlightening, and empowering. Thank you for your continued attention and participation. In this session today, we will cover QuickBase licensing, pricing, and packaging options to help you unlock operational agility and the potential in your organizations. As QuickBase finds itself serving an ever diverse set of customers, helping them achieve operational agility and excellence with over 100,000 unique workflows, we have taken a hard and deep look at what we can do to align our pricing model to the way our customers derive value from their use of QuickBase. In today's session, we would like to share with you our newest pricing and packaging options for QuickBase. And my name is Shashi Mysore. I head our commercialization strategy initiatives at QuickBase, and I'm co-hosting the session with my colleague and good friend, Megan Ross. Welcome, Megan.
Hi, Shashi. Thanks for having me. My name is Megan Ross, and I'm a senior manager in the product marketing department who's worked closely with Shashi on all the new pricing and packaging initiatives.
Thank you for being here, Meg. Well, Megan and I are honored to be presenting this work. We would also like to take a moment to thank some of our colleagues that have been instrumental in delivering to market a very powerful and flexible pricing model. Among many others, specifically the billing product development team, the order management team, the deal desk, the finance team, the business operations and analytics and enablement, our legal team, our product management, and last but not the least, our program management team for helping coordinate this cross-functional effort. If you happen to see them in the virtual hallways this week, please feel free to say hello and a thank you. We are also very grateful to the hundreds in this audience across our partner and community ecosystem that have participated and provided invaluable feedback in piloting and market validating the new pricing over the last 12 to 18 months. On that note, over the next 20, 30 minutes, we would like to take a deeper look into the 2021 QuickBase pricing and plans, specifically how we've now aligned our pricing and packaging with the value you derive from your use of QuickBase, and how we've made it simple and flexible to suit your business needs. We will also be joined by 3 QuickBase sales leaders across the various customer segments we serve to share their perspective and their customer feedback on the new plans and pricing. Last but not the least, we are thrilled to have a few of our customers that have been with us on this journey for the last 18 months or so to share their experiences and perspective on the new pricing and plans. We hope that this will resonate well with your business needs and help you unleash the power of QuickBase within your organizations even more. We will reserve some time for question and answers at the end of the session. Without further ado, let's dig in. 2021 QuickBase pricing and plans. Whether you know it or not, each one of you in the audience today, you've been instrumental in helping shape our pricing and packaging model at QuickBase. You've provided us feedback in direct and indirect ways on a number of elements, how the plans are named, how easy or difficult it is to decide which plans to buy, on the need for cost-effective ways to expand the use of QuickBase within your organizations, and to even extend it to those that are in your ecosystem outside of your organizations, your partners, your vendors, your customers, your contractors, and so on. Thank you for the feedback. They've helped shape our guiding principles as we embark on this journey. We have a diverse set of customers that are in different stages of their adoption of QuickBase. Some that solve problems for their teams, simpler and smaller use cases. Some that optimize and digitize more complex interrelated workflows across their businesses. And others that leverage QuickBase as an enterprise-wide strategic platform. To cater to those 3 types of customers, we have 3 base subscription plans: the team, the business, and enterprise. These plans are differentiated based on the product feature set or product capabilities in each tier. And at the end of the day, our customers, you all, use QuickBase to help bring productivity and agility and creativity in the way humans do their jobs, which is why our primary licensing unit is a user-based license. The predominant buying mode for these three base plans is to purchase licenses for unique human users to access the platform. It also makes it easy to estimate the number of units to purchase for new customers. In most of these customer scenarios, all of the users access the platform in almost the same way and to the same degree. And the user-based licensing model works great for the majority of our customers where all users are created equal and need similar access to the platform. As customers start to expand their use of QuickBase for multiple use cases or enterprise-wide adoption to extend access to apps to users that only access the platform occasionally or use it sparingly. Think about any contractors you may have, your vendors, your partners, or even your end customers that you may need to be part of the workflow of your businesses. Procuring user licenses for all these users sometimes becomes economically infeasible. The ROI just doesn't work out. If you need to, say, pay $50 per user per month for 1,000 truck drivers that fill out a time card for 5 minutes once a week, for those customers intending to expand the use of QuickBase to a combination of full, medium, light users, and would prefer to pay for the collective usage of those diverse set of users than be purely charged based on the number of users that need access to QuickBase, you can now purchase QuickBase plans under a usage-based pricing model. This model allows you to pay for your QuickBase usage based on the anticipated value-added usage of the platform and not just based on the number of users that need access to the platform. Further, to help you accelerate value creation and derive a higher ROI from your use of QuickBase, we've now introduced enablement service packages. The essential, the premium, the ultimate service packages can be purchased on top of the base product subscription. In summary, this slide that you're seeing right now on your screen captures almost everything you need to know about QuickBase pricing and packaging plans. The three base plans that can be purchased either under a user-based model or a usage-based model with our service offerings are available for you to purchase directly from our sellers or via our partners. The takeaway is that we've now simplified and made the pricing model flexible to accommodate smaller use cases to enterprise and organization-wide expansions. While this is a bit of an eye chart, let me just highlight and summarize the key takeaways of the QuickBase pricing plans. Number one, 3 feature differentiated software subscription plans: the team, the business, and the enterprise. Number 2, flexible purchase options. You can purchase these plans either under a user-based model or a usage-based model. Number 3, we've simplified our entitlements to be users, value-based reads, attachment space, app space, and channels. Megan is going to cover a little bit more about what these reads mean in a couple of minutes from now. And then number 4, basic service packages are included, but essential, premium, and ultimate service packages can be purchased for an additional fee. And for those of you that are interested in learning a little bit more about our enablement service packages, we have a session dedicated to on this topic. That's tomorrow, Wednesday at 2:30 Eastern Time. With that, Meg, would you mind helping us understand a bit more about the different purchase options available for our customers, user model versus usage, and how should customers be making their decisions on what factors should they be thinking about on which one is best suited for their business needs?
Absolutely. Thank you, Shashi. That was wonderful content and context. So we'd love to just now shift to slightly focus a little bit more deeply on our flexible licensing model that we offer across the 3 plans that Shashi highlighted. So let's double click. The QuickBase platform is all about flexibility and agility. So it's only right that our pricing model and licensing options are designed the same way. We believe in a world where services and price enable operational agility in your business and don't box you into limitations and contracts. So we want to meet our customers where they are and enable them to grow with us commercially. As Shashi highlighted in some of the early triangle slides, oftentimes we see and expect a majority of our customers to fall into a user-based licensing model when they first come to use QuickBase. So we think of the user-based licensing model ideally when all users are created equally. So the organization might have a simple set of workflows and a set of users who execute those workflows and use QuickBase in the same way. As businesses grow, scale, and mature with their use of QuickBase, their organizational complexity and use cases might also change and increase. With that, their ideal licensing model might also shift. Usage-based licensing is an ideal licensing model when use cases involve different types of users. So thinking if your organization might want to extend QuickBase to support infrequent users or external users, or say your organization is looking to deploy QuickBase throughout the enterprise. Usage-based pricing entitles a pool of users, different types of users, right? So light, infrequent, limited, to a pool of entitlements to use the platform the same way that they need to use it, just on their own demand. Rather than license every user the same and at the same cost, we allow users to consume and derive insights from the platform in the way that they uniquely need to. Like we mentioned earlier, QuickBase should be easy to buy and cost-effective to expand. So you might be thinking, well, how do we measure and define usage under a usage-based model? So usage-based pricing under these plans, like we mentioned, is correlated with the value that customers derive from the platform in the form of information and business insights consumed by their users. Usage-based entitlements included in plan are representative of how much information is read from the platform in the form of reads. QuickBase pricing is based on one primary entitlement called reads. There are two components that count as reads under the measured user-based model. Reads only count integration reads, and under the usage-based model, along with integration reads, user reads also count towards the entitlement. User reads measure the number of times that users view forms, reports, or dashboards. Integration reads measure the number of times software services read data from QuickBase and deliver it externally. I think it's also important to highlight at a very high level those activities that would not count as billable activities as we discuss reads in our usage measurement. So when we think about reads, a read is not using web or mobile interface to create or edit data in QuickBase applications, to build or improve QuickBase applications, to manage or automate in the QuickBase or administrate in the QuickBase platform, view anything outside of dashboards, forms, and report views. And when we think about our powerful pipelines tool, there's also some things we want to consider as we revamped some of our entitlements as they relate to pipelines. So using pipelines, again, would not be counted towards a billable entitlement to add or update data in QuickBase applications, automate workflow in between QuickBase applications using the QuickBase channel, request data from third-party systems, or delete data from QuickBase applications or any third-party systems. With that, I'm going to turn it back over to Shashi to introduce our panel of QuickBase sales leaders.
Wonderful. Thank you, Meg. Thank you for walking us through that. That's very helpful. I would now like to welcome some of our key sales leaders across the different segments to see everything we've spoken so far. How is that resonating in the market? How is that resonating with you, with our customers? Welcome, Jennifer, E.T., and Brian. I would love to start by having each of you introduce yourselves, if you don't mind. Tell us a little bit about your tenure at QuickBase and the customer segments you serve.
I guess I'll start. Brian Frawley. I've been with QuickBase about 8 years. Started out as an individual contributor, have been leading one of our sales teams here for the last 3 years. It's now called Commercial, and we work with customers from 1 employee to 1,000 employees.
Welcome, Brian. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. I'm Jennifer Bottolato, and I've been with QuickBase for 12 years now. I am boomeranging back to QuickBase and I started as an individual contributor as well. And I now lead one of our sales teams. And we focus on working with the Fortune 100 companies within operationally intense segments like retail and manufacturing and healthcare. And we're typically working within the operational segments within those companies.
Welcome, Jen. E.T.?
Hello, Empower. My name is E.T. Enyang. It is a privilege to be here. I have been with QuickBase for going on 4 months now. I'm super excited. And I got here right when these purchasing and pricing and new plan options were being mainstreamed at QuickBase. I currently lead one of our enterprise expand teams here at QuickBase. So what that means is helping our customers of 1,000 employees and up derive, retain, and continue to extract value from the QuickBase platform.
Wonderful. Thank you. Welcome, Jennifer, E.T., and Brian to the panel. And E.T., welcome to QuickBase. Glad to have you on board.
Thank you so much.
Brian, let me start with you. You've been selling at QuickBase for quite some time. I imagine you've seen a lot of transitions as it relates to our pricing and dealt with customers from across the spectrum in your tenure at QuickBase. Would you mind sharing your views and experiences with the new pricing you've seen in the market so far?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, when I started with QuickBase, we were in our first pricing change that we'd ever had. So, and that addressed a lot of the issues and that customers were having with our model then. But the one thing that it did not address was this idea that not all users are created equal. And it's been a common request. You know, I have a use case, but the licensing model doesn't make sense because these folks would be using it so little. We've tried many, many things over the years, and none of them quite got all of it. We'd capture some of those users, but then somebody else would have a different use case, and it wouldn't make sense. So this one, I think, does the best job. I mean, it's not a perfect fit for everything, but it really, the flexibility that is available lets us capture whether it's seasonal, really light use, big spikes at certain times, things like that we couldn't capture before. So the flexibility has been really great and really well received.
That's great feedback, Brian. Thank you. E.T., being a newer member to the QuickBase team, and you bring a lot of experience from selling enterprise software at companies like Oracle, SmartBear, CA, Tableau, Salesforce, and so on. I'd love to hear your perspective, your fresh perspective coming in to the company afresh with this experience on how you think, or how do you perceive the new pricing model could help uniquely differentiate ourselves in the market, as well as help our customers uniquely unlock the potential in their organizations with QuickBase?
Great question, Sashi. Absolutely. I've spent my career in software sales, whether that be on-premise, public, private, and/or hybrid cloud, traditional perpetual licensing versus subscription, SaaS, so on, right? I've had the privilege of engaging in multiple licensing conversations across the customer landscape, again, whether that be at the SMB levels, all the way to the enterprise and the strategic levels. Most of the license models that I've been a part of have been centered around either the individual user or the device in which the software was to be used on. Now, for those customers that were looking to maybe get started with some of our solutions, it was fine. It was usually just an identified, subset of users on a couple of devices. Maybe they had a specific project and really wanted to prove out the value in our solutions. But over time, what we found at multiple companies was that customers were feeling restricted because they had multiple types and flavors of users, right? Whether that be your heavy user, whether it be a moderate user, whether it be an internal user or an external user, but we just didn't have the plans to accommodate for their unique needs. And throughout the years, I've seen some of our licensing models shift where we're measuring concurrent users versus named users versus users. And, all in all, it just made it very, very complex for our customers to not only stay on our platforms, but to continue to scale and grow with our platforms. So one of the one of the biggest things that I see that differentiates us at QuickBase from some of the other companies and licensing models that I've been a part of is just the flexibility in which we're not going to dictate to our customers specifically how you use our customer, but we're focused on, making sure you're able to derive value, whether that be, your specific users or whether that be across your entire enterprise. It doesn't matter, however you need to interact with QuickBase, we have a solution for you.
That's great. Thank you, Edie. Thanks for sharing that perspective. I think, you highlighted a few key elements here in terms of ease of governance, the ability to help customers think about diverse use cases without being constrained by how we've written their contracts, right? The user model, concurrent users, active users, light users. Now, let's simplify all of this and deliver a much better ROI to our customers is the goal of this one. So Jen, shifting the focus back to you, based on what Brian and ET have said around the ROI in terms of the benefits for our customers, you've actually seen some of this being tested really well in the market across the members on your team. Are there a few scenarios or examples that you want to share in terms of how customers have leveraged this flexibility and we've helped them derive a much better ROI from their investment in QuickBase?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think what we're seeing in the market is anytime you have groups that are working with external suppliers or there's a need to work with external business partners of some kind, this is typically where companies find a lot of benefit from this flexible commercial model. One example is a CPG company that is working to capitalize on the changing consumer trends that basically are demanding healthier, more sustainable food sources. And that requires really large manufacturing companies to quickly pivot and start to recruit and evaluate new vendors very quickly in order to bring those new products to market. And as we know, there are lots of legacy systems within manufacturing and CPG that typically don't talk to each other. So these sourcing teams are looking for a way to consolidate information about their current suppliers that's typically spread across Ariba, CRM, vendor management systems. And with flexible pricing, they were able to not only solve that internal kind of data workflow and consolidation need, but they're now able to automate workflows across the entire sourcing org and extend access to suppliers and vendors that are external to their company. So rather than asking a supplier to put data into an email or to an Excel sheet or a portal that just dumps it into another siloed system, you now have the ability to capture data in real time from these business partners and really start to make them part of the workflow without having to really micromanage users. Because as we know, those suppliers may log in once, they may log in every day for 3 or 4 weeks, and then it's done. So the companies are demanding more flexibility when it comes to how they use QuickBase and how they contract with QuickBase. So that's one example.
Excellent. Thank you, Jen. Thanks for sharing that. As we think about the usage-based model, there are certain characteristics, there are certain attributes of use cases where this becomes more meaningful and makes a lot more sense compared to a few others. Brian, when you're speaking to customers about our usage-based licensing option, are there some of the key questions or considerations that you tend to address with them upfront to help our customers figure out if usage-based model is a good fit for them or not?
Yeah, definitely. There's actually a lot of questions that go into it to make sure that it is going to be a good fit. But I usually start with, what's the use case or what are you trying to do? And why doesn't the current model work for you? And once I understand that more, then I can start drilling into, okay, what will these, it's usually, it's not where the value that we're getting from them is not worth the full license, price. And So then it's drilling in and understanding, how is this going to benefit your your organization? What by giving them QuickBase access, what does that do for you? How does it streamline the process? What data do you get access to? What paper-based process or manual processes are eliminated by giving these lighter users or seasonal users access? And, as we dig into it, we start to, uncover different areas, and the customers often think of, heavy users and light users. And then there's this whole area in between. And with this model, we can really dial it in and be like, okay, well, tell me about these, and then tell me about these. And then we can really take a step back and really figure it out, dial it into exactly their needs, and then, deliver the value that is commensurate with the price that they're paying.
Makes a lot of sense, Brian. That thought process makes a lot of sense. And I don't know, Jen, is that thought process any different on the other end of the spectrum, on the larger customers and the strategic segment? Any other additional thoughts you would like to share?
Yeah, I think what I'm seeing across some of the larger, Fortune 100 companies, some of the telcos we're working with, specifically some of the manufacturing companies, is that QuickBase, with this flexible model, now allows these companies, specifically within IT, to leverage QuickBase as a front end application for their enterprise data without having to worry about that variance in usage types. And by that, I mean, when you think about all the different business units across your company, everyone has different reporting and data collection standards. There's always a lack of visibility. There's no single source of truth. And that's a perfect use case for a no-code platform to provide a way for the business to self-serve, where the flexible pricing comes into play here in usage specifically, is that it now opens the door to a much broader range of use cases that can tap into that enterprise data. So you can use it for things like ticketing applications, where I might log an HR ticket once a year or maybe never. And some people may use it more frequently. I don't want to pay the same price for that application as I would that's used every single day by my executive team. So given that flexibility, it's really hard to justify the same price for those different types of applications that you build. With this flexible model, you can now use QuickBase as the workflow reporting application layer that plugs into that enterprise data fabric, whether that's a data lake in S3 or a core application like SAP. And you can provide access to the entire business and allow them to self-serve. So federate information from all these different sources into common terms into a single place. And you start to eliminate those wasted cycles of OpEx, running those processes manually. And that can apply both internally and externally to your business partners. So that's where I'm really excited to see QuickBase being used, is really at the enterprise level within IT to extend that data across the business.
Amazing stories. Thank you for sharing those experiences and instances. ET, closing us out, what do you think some of the key takeaways are for new pricing model, and why do you think our customers should be excited about this?
Yeah, I believe the biggest takeaway is that our new plans and packaging offers flexibility. With our new plans, we've enabled our customers to provide access to the QuickBase platform to all of their users, whether they be internal, external, moderate, or heavy users across the entire enterprise. I believe our customers should be excited about that, as well as the fact that we have our enablement service offerings. And these services are activities and outcome-based, designed to drive business impact, establish IT governance, and ultimately accelerate innovation and operational agility. The new enablement services mimic the customization and agility that our product provides. That allows for both new and existing customers to take advantage of our services and engage with our incredible customer success team to achieve their goals and continue to derive value with QuickBase.
Thank you for sharing that, Edie. I appreciate that. So all in all, we've introduced the new plans. aligned it with the way customers derive value from their use of QuickBase. And the model, it's very fulfilling and satisfying to hear some of those examples across the spectrum where customers are beginning to see the benefits of the new pricing model already. So Jennifer, E.T., Brian, thank you so much for sharing your perspective, and thank you for your time today. Now that we've heard from our internal voices, it's time to hear directly from our customers. Take it away, Meg.
Thank you, Shashi. I think that was a wonderful segment, and thank you all so much for your perspective. We'd love now to welcome some customers to the fold to share their actual stories from their use cases and how this new licensing model has impacted their organizations and their use of QuickBase. So I'd like to welcome two unique customers to the stage. So Anthony Giordana, the Chief Technology Officer at Consigli, and John Luoma, the Senior Director of Technology and Innovation at Signature Graphics, are here today with us. Thank you both so much for joining us. So Anthony, I'd love to start with you and just welcome you. Thanks so much again for joining us today. Can you introduce yourself and then just give folks a bit of background on yourself?
Sure. Anthony Giordana. I've been at Consigli Construction for the past 10 years and been in construction technology for over 16 years, from doing everything from implementing software to sometimes integrating a lot of our systems and stuff like that. So,
great. And John, similar question to you. Can you just introduce yourself, give us a little bit of background on your company and yourself?
Yep. Well, thank you for having me. I'm the Senior Director of Innovation and Technology for Signature Graphics. I have over 30 years of experience in IT and accounting. I spent the last 20 of those years with Omnicom Group, a marketing agency. And then I think I've been a QuickBase user since probably about 2006.
Oh, it's wonderful. So you've been with us for some time. So similar to some of our sales leaders, you've been through some transitions and seen how QuickBase has evolved over the years. Awesome. So Anthony, I know that most people probably have heard of Consigli, at least in the Boston area, but can you give us a bit of background on your company and how your company uniquely uses QuickBase?
Sure. We're a large general contractor that builds buildings in the education, healthcare, commercial space. Our jobs range from $5 million to $400 million and range in scope and timing from stuff that lasts a few months to stuff that goes on for years. So 80% of our employees are working at those job sites, which are remote. And at those job sites, which are very complex, they're using multiple softwares to gain the ability to finish those projects on time and on schedule and on budget. But they're also dealing with many different other outside users, from subcontractors, architects, owners, consultants. So each one of those jobs is very complex with the number of softwares it's using and the number of people they're interacting with. So QuickBase, what it's done for us and why we brought it in is mainly to really be that connective tissue, that bridging software. There's a lot of stuff that happens between the main softwares that wasn't getting captured, wasn't being done efficiently in Excel, Word, Notes, or people's heads, right? And we're also having to collect and interact with all those consultants and all those clients on those different jobs. And they're not the same ones on every job because each job is its own entity. So we needed to be very flexible and needed a system that was efficient, but also connected everything for us in a way that was trackable and measurable, because we have to measure and track everything on a construction site. So that's kind of how we're using it, to kind of connect things, bridge the gap, but also make things efficient.
Great. I think that was so well said, Anthony. I think so many customers can connect to the concept of QuickBase being a connective tissue to sort of connect larger systems. And so I think at an organization as large as yours, it's so interesting to hear you sort of mention that. And I think that a lot of customers, I'm sure, who are listening can relate to that same sort of QuickBase place in their ecosystem. So John, can you give us a little bit of background on your company and how your company uses QuickBase?
Sure. We are a medium-sized manufacturer owned by a very large marketing holding company. So what we do is we manufacture large format branding materials. Typically that's a vinyl wrap for a vehicle or a building or a sidewalk or a street. And then our industry is pretty much of an analog industry. So what we're trying to do is bring some digital technology to our customers and sort of expand that part of it. Our primary application is a QuickBase application that we call Brand Response, and that gives our customers visibility on the status and the complexity of the installation process. So our projects range anywhere from about a couple of hundred vehicles to over 10,000 vehicles. And it's a logistical nightmare to bring all those users together and get appointments made and get those installations done, and then report back to the client on how we're doing. So QuickBase has really brought all those pieces together and gives our customers one place where they can go and see the status of the project.
Yeah, absolutely. So it sounds very similar, even though you're in a different size organization, different use case, sort of a lot of the same kind of concepts and things you're trying to achieve with QuickBase as someone like Anthony and his organization. So John, when we talk about flexible licensing and sort of all the options and the concept, that idea, and that not all users are created equally, and therefore we shouldn't sort of, contract them the same way. What does that really mean to you? And I know you said you've been at QuickBase, for quite some years. So I'd love to kind of understand your perspective on that flexible licensing concept.
Yes, it's been very helpful because when we had the user-based model, we were constantly trying to decide who has a license, who doesn't have a license. So now we have three types of users. There's the corporate user. They need the full power and strength and functionality of QuickBase all the time. We've got installers who are out there, and there's, we have anywhere from, 100 to 1,000 installers working at the same time. And then we have probably about 3,500 installers in total. So under the under the license model, we couldn't give a license to each one of those. Under the usage-based model, we can give a license to many of them, as many as we need to, and then they can access the platform and give us the feedback that we need from the field. Then on the customer side, same thing. We were hesitant to give everybody a license because we just didn't have enough. Now with the usage-based model, we can give every customer a license and they can see the platform and see the progress we're making. And so with that usage-based licensing, we can accommodate all three of those users.
Yeah, that's great. That's super helpful, John. I think in the way that you summarize it, it's so interesting that you sort of have, again, internally your own sort of set of users, and how they uniquely use the platform is different. But now, like we said, you don't have to necessarily feel boxed into who gets to use the platform at all, right? And who has to kind of use those external, sources, like Anthony said, things in your head, things in Excel to connect those dots. So everyone can kind of use QuickBase just in the way that they need to sort of, again, be that connective tissue. So Anthony, how would you sort of summarize how your organization came to realize that they needed more access to QuickBase, but maybe in more of a flexible way?
Yeah, it started early on when we were looking for a system that could help us eliminate the barriers to innovation and access to information. Like you said, we're a large general contractor, so we have job sites all over the place, starting and stopping all the time. So we needed to be able to put something in place where one large job showed up, where there'd be thousands of users, especially external users. We wanted to make sure that what we were trying to roll out was effective and not have to worry about getting the right number of users, making sure that things were in place. We wanted it just to be part of what we do. We wanted to make QuickBase be part of our standard operating procedure. Instead of trying to find something that fit, we wanted it just to help us extend our work and extend the way we do things without having to take too much time worrying about it. So it just became part of what we do.
That's great. I think that makes, again, it is a point that I'm sure resonates with a lot of other customers in terms of thinking about solutions that you have to fit into versus a solution that then you can kind of customize to fit your needs. So Anthony, how did you work with QuickBase to come up with a licensing solution that fit your organizational needs?
Yeah, early on, we just tried to eliminate the barriers of, picking something and picking a license and saying, this is what we want to do. This is how we want to impact our company. This is how we want to impact our jobs and our end users. And our end users were not just Consigli employees. They were subcontractors, consultants, clients, and architects. So when we started that conversation, we started working on a plan to say, I just want to be able to roll this out. And as we create apps or as we spin up an application for a job site, I just want people to be able to use it and get on. So that's really how it started. And we wanted to, like I said, the focus was to make it part of what we do, part of our standard operating procedures, instead of having to worry about each job, each setup, each app that we wanted to roll out. We wanted to just say, if there's something good and efficient, let's put it in and roll it out and let people use it.
Right. And spend the time really using QuickBase, not just administering it. So I think that makes a ton of sense. So John, how has our usage-based licensing option impacted the way that your organization uses QuickBase?
Yeah, I think in a number of ways, we've extended QuickBase to some important groups of users that didn't have access because we couldn't afford to give them access. I think we've also saved time and money because we don't have to keep swapping licenses around. When we're short a license, we had to take some away from users who might not be accessing the platform at that point in time, and then give it to somebody else who needs it today. So I think time and money have been saved that way. And then, there's a lot of, we have additional automated workflows that we're using this on because when we only had a few licenses, we had to keep those apps to just the real important apps. And now with that wider usage model, we can give access to more people and then automate more workflows that might not be large in scope, but we can give them sort of a pinpoint application that can get something done quickly and efficiently for a short period of time.
Yeah, that's great. That makes a lot of sense. And I think, like you've said, time and money and everything in terms of administering those licenses, I'm sure was a burden on everybody internally. So Anthony, any sort of anecdotal feedback or thoughts you want to share with customers like yourself about how to think about QuickBase licensing?
Yeah, I think our focus was we wanted to get the right tools in the hands of our employees to make them more effective and efficient, especially on job sites where we want people to be safe, secure, but also, be able to go home at the end of the day and not spend the day in the trailer redoing work in updating stuff. So our focus on the license structure was to have a license plan that fit us and not to make a license plan fit after we figured the problem out. So we wanted to make sure that we, could solve our problems and the license plan would work for us. So it would be part of the solution and not, okay, let's find something that works in a license and then try to solve the problem. We just wanted to start with the problem, solve it, and then not worry about the next step. And that too many times you're trying to find the software and find the license structure and then solve the problem, and then you waste time and energy not actually coming to the right solution for you.
Yeah, absolutely. It sounds like, a lot of these scenarios can very much be a square peg round hole. And a lot of that time and energy spent isn't doing the work and enabling the people closest to the work to do that. So I think that's incredibly helpful in that perspective. So John, similar question as we start to wrap up. Any additional anecdotal feedback or thoughts that you want to share with customers like yourself?
Yes, QuickBase works so well for prototyping and automating sort of temporary workloads. And with that that new licensing model, we can expand the users and give them more of that automation for those temporary workloads. We recently had a challenging billing problem, and we quickly spun up an app and were able to solve that one problem for a short period of time and give everybody that needed access to that. So this allows us to automate more of those temporary workloads, make it available to a wider group of users. And then, so anytime a spreadsheet isn't up for the task, we can create the QuickBase app and give the users the power they need to get the job done.
That's great. Well, thank you both so much. Thank you, Anthony. Thank you, John. for joining us today and sharing your QuickBase stories and giving customers like yourselves valuable and tangible perspective on how our licensing models have worked for your organizations. I think your perspective is invaluable to hear, and a lot of customers, I think, can connect and resonate with a lot of the concepts that you've discussed and how you use QuickBase and how you sort of view QuickBase in your organization. So thank you once again to our sales leaders, Jen, Brian, and ET, and thank you so much to Shashi. We covered a lot of important content today, and we really appreciate the time and attention. Before we get to the Q&A portion of this presentation, I again wanted to thank you all for your time and ask that you share your feedback and rate this session. Also, if you have any questions later, my name is Megan Ross, and my partner in this work and presentation is Shashi Mysore. So feel free to head over to the QuickBase Community Slack Empower Sessions channel, and feel free to direct questions at Megan Ross and at Shashi Mysore. But now let's open it up for some live Q&A.